And justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brady?
Here.
Commissioner Here?
Here.
Commissioner Lang?
Here.
Commissioner Argyris?
Here.
Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
Commissioner Hein?
Here.
Chairperson Abiscato?
Here. Approval of the minutes of the special meeting of December 19th.
So move.
Motion made by Commissioner Argyris,
Second.
by Commissioner Lang. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Here?
I have to abstain. I wasn't here for that portion.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Argyris?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Chairperson Abiscato?
Yes.
In consideration of a Class E liquor license for St. Joseph the Worker Catholic Church, DBA the Knights of Columbus, 181 West Dundee Road.
Madam President,
Yes.
I'm going to have to abstain from any participation in this docket as I'm a member of the Knights.
Madam President,
Yes.
also going to have to abstain.
Madam President, I as well am a member of that organization.
That's right, you are.
Thank God I'm Greek. Motion to approve. I second the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Argyris, second by Commissioner Hein. Roll call, please.
Okay, Commissioner Brady?
Abstain.
Commissioner Here?
Abstain.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Argyris?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Abstain.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Chairperson Abiscato?
Yes.
4-3.
Just to be clear, those are with the conditions outlined on the, okay.
Correct.
Regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. Oh, that's right. I get so excited with all those. I got nervous on that one. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Motion by Trustee Commissioner Hein, second by Commissioner Here. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Here? Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Argyris?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Hein?
Yes.
Chairperson Abiscato?
Yes. Regular meeting of the Board of Trustees is now called to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Here.
Trustee Here?
Here.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Argyris?
Here.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes. Approve the minutes of the January 16th meeting.
So moved.
Motion made by Trustee Here,
Oh, Brady.
Trustee Brady, second by Trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes. Are there any changes to the agenda?
No, Madam President.
No changes? No proclamations, no appointments, no administration of oaths. Any citizens' concerns?
Yes, members of the general public may address the board with concerns or comments regarding relevant issues. The person submitting a petition, concern, or other comment shall be allotted 5 minutes to present their points. Mr. Reinhardt?
Folks, I just have a couple of quick words regarding my daughter Haley Reinhardt. She says hi to everyone, by the way. I hope everything's well. And I've been meaning to do this for a month, but thank you very much for having her as the guest of honor for the beautiful lights ceremony. And Dean, thanks so much for following through with everything. We really appreciate it. And she loved it, and it was a special, special thing that we all went through. Also, I just wanted to tell everybody she's going to have a single and an album coming out very soon. It's not in the next few weeks, but it'll be within the next maybe 3 months. We'll have both of those things. She sent a tweet out that was March 1st that she would have a single out. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that's changed, as everything changes out there. And it'll be probably within a few weeks after that, but I'll be sure to let everybody know. And it'll be our pleasure to let everybody know, and hopefully everyone can kind of join in celebration when that does happen, you know. And other than that, things are going really very well, very well. She's recorded one heck of a nice album, and I've got a lot of confidence in what's gonna come from it. So we hope you all enjoy it, and thanks for everything.
Thank you.
Staff reports or consent?
We're done.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry, madam, we're done.
Staff reports, Human Services Director, food pantry donations.
Good evening. Yes, the Wheeling Food Pantry located at 101 North Wolf, which is an initiative by the Wheeling Rotary Club and supported by many organizations, including the Village of Wheeling, Omni Youth Services, St. Joseph the Worker Church, Wheeling High School, and District 21, is in need of food donations. We are in need of specifics, if I could give the list quickly. Peanut butter and jelly, spaghetti, noodles and sauce, oatmeal, other types of cereals, dry or canned beans and rice. Collection bins for these donations can be found at Village Hall, at the Wheeling Police Department, the Wheeling Pavilion Senior Center, and Fire Station 24. Donations may also be brought to the food pantry during regular business hours, which are Monday through Friday from 1 p.m. to 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. If you do have any questions, want to know something specific, you can call the Human Services Department at 847-459-2606. Thanks.
Thank you. Consent agenda.
Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other regular agenda items.
So move.
Motion made by trustee Agiris,
Second.
second by trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Avascado?
Yes.
Old business we need to remove from the table?
We have old business. We need to remove that from a table. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Motion made by trustee Agiris, second by trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Avascado?
Yes.
Ordinance 12A, ordinance amending Title IV, Chapter 4.40, Section 4.40.010, and Title IV, Chapter 4.52, Section 4.52.020, and Title IV, Chapter 4.64, Section 4.64.010 of the Wheeling Municipal Code regarding soliciting in the streets.
Attorney Wargo?
This is being brought back to the board. We've had discussions on this, on the soliciting in streets. And it's going to limit it to each group to one time per year on a first come, first served basis.
Do we have any questions?
I do.
Trustee Hein?
Thank you.
He had his hand up first, Dean.
Item I, which we just mentioned about having a permit for one time for each charitable organization, one time per year. I'm still a strong believer in that we should have it for a minimum of 2. And I would like to see if the rest of my colleagues agree or disagree with that. There are a number of times when some of these organizations, some of the bigger ones, some special event might be coming up, and I think that we're just tying their hands a little bit by just having it one time per year.
Trustee Agiris?
My question to Mr. Wargo is, what's in the code right now? Is there a limit?
No, there's no limit.
I'm all in favor of at least 2 times a year, okay? And the other question that I had was the restriction of anybody under 16 years old. What does that do to brownies, Cub Scouts, or anybody else that go out and solicit it to sell cookies or things for their pack or their schools?
Well, this is just applies to the street, trustee or
No,
juris.
I understand.
And I don't think that this is, and we're taking this from the Illinois Vehicle Code, and I don't think those types of groups would be allowed to solicit in the streets.
Okay, what about those who don't solicit in the street? How does this ordinance apply to
Well,
them?
at least this amendment so far would not affect Girl Scouts, brownies selling door to door as they do, or at the Walgreens or Walmart.
This is specific to street solicitation, so nothing from our code as it stands would change in regard to solicitation in general. This is only for doing so on street corners.
But all these years, we had no restrictions of age for solicitation on the street, and now we're amending it to meet the state code?
Correct.
Have we ever had a problem with anybody under 16 years old soliciting on the street? Working with somebody from MDA or anything else like that? And how are we going to police that?
When they submit their application, perhaps the police department could explain it, the application process, they handle that.
Right, we would get the application, we would check to make sure on age-wise or, what the organization is doing. Once the application comes through, we then forward it over to the village hall to let them know that we've approved of that. And as you say, we have not had any problems.
Okay.
In fact, I have seen in other towns where I have seen smaller kids out there with a parent,
Right.
which is what you would want if you had someone out there. I think what we're trying to do is just address that issue where you don't want smaller children who might not be seen within the roadway.
Okay. That's all I have.
Madam President?
Yes.
I'm afraid if we do something like that, we might hurt the groups of young children that have car washes and put two teenagers out on the street with signs, get your car washed. If you put something like that in the ordinance, that means that they couldn't do that.
We wouldn't want them in the street either on something like that. Normally, they would be on the sidewalk with their signs doing that solicitation, but not in the street, because we would not permit that.
Okay. One other thing, and now we're going to go back to having it more than once a year, because at the last meeting, it was brought up that we should have it once a year. I think Trustee Lang brought it up, and President Abascal took a consensus, and every one of us said, yeah, let's just have it once a year. Now we're going to change it again? Is that what we're saying?
I'm suggesting that we go to at least twice a year.
But you voted for once a year.
I have a right to change my mind, I think, huh?
Oh. That means that we got to table it again until they change the wording.
No, we could approve, if somebody wants to make a motion to amend it to include
We can
the
do
two,
that.
we could take a vote, see if that passes.
Trustee Lang?
Okay, and to tail on that, I'd like a poll at least to discuss what our feelings are before we amend that.
All right, Trustee Hein, you would like to, we'll take a poll, you would like it 2 times a year?
Correct.
Trustee Lang?
Once a year, based on what all the charities are doing right now.
Trustee Brady?
Once a year is fine.
Trustee here?
Once will be okay.
Trustee Vogel?
Once.
Trustee Adjuris?
I like twice, just to be different.
And you?
Well, I would tell you that I would not like the ordinance changed at all.
Either way.
So twice a year would be where we should be. Because if the MD, if they go MDA and all of those organizations, what if something comes up that they have an opportunity to do it twice a year rather than once a year? And Trustee Hein, you were 2 times a year.
Correct.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes,
if something comes up like that for an emergency, can't they come before the village and bring it back to the board?
yes,
So I'd rather do it case by case than blanket it.
okay. So the consensus is that the board would like it just once a year. Do we have any other concerns or changes?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion to approve by Trustee Lang, second by Trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee here?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Argyris?
No.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
No.
President Abiscato.
No.
4-3.
And there's nothing in the minutes that reflect a consensus, by the way.
Yes, there is.
I can't find it, Ken. I'm sorry.
We just approved them.
No, we hadn't.
No, we
did.
tabled it. We tabled it. Where was the
Yeah,
consensus?
but way back there was.
Consensus is in there.
I'm sorry. I'll look for it. I didn't see it.
Yeah. It's our new toy.
I'm sorry.
Item 13U, business, all listed items for discussion and possible action. 13AA, resolution authorizing the village president and clerk to execute an intergovernmental agreement concerning electrical aggregation.
Mr. Fondilis?
Thank you, Madam President. This is the next step in the electric aggregation process that we've discussed several times. Tonight, you will be formalizing an agreement with the other communities that will allow us to bid out and move forward in the process of collectively purchasing power for our businesses and residents. As you know, we will have the question on the ballot of March 20th as to whether or not the village should participate in electric aggregation. Assuming that moves forward and in preparation for that to pass, this agreement allows us to move forward with the RFP process of getting a provider on board and ready should the question pass on March 20th. The important takeaways for the public concerning this item are the 3 public information meetings that will be held to give the public an opportunity to talk and to hear more about what this program is about. Since there are 7 communities, we picked one in the north, one in the south, and one in the middle to host these public meetings. All of this information is available on our website, but just to publicize, the first of those meetings will be Tuesday, February 21st at 7:30 p.m. to accommodate an evening meeting that will be held at the Arlington Heights Village Hall. Then again on Wednesday, February 29th for an afternoon meeting at the Buffalo Grove Village Hall, and Thursday, March 8th at 7 p.m. at the Vernon Hills Village Hall. And again, all of that information is available on our website. It's also being advertised on our Channel 17 and Channel 99. There's opportunities in those places for you to ask questions. We have a specific email address set up and a telephone number available if the public has any questions, either now or after these public information hearings.
Thank you. Trustee Brady?
Mr. Spondilis, were you at the general meeting on this? You know, with the other communities?
The general meeting?
Did you attend the meetings?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm reading through this, it's a great idea, and I think it's going to work. The only thing I didn't see is after the initial bid is put out and accepted, that we're basically all on our own for the duration of the contract. And there's not going to be anything, no administration or anything needed as a group. But are we going to periodically go out and rebid this to see, and is this going to be an ongoing cost to hire?
This is a one-year contract for now. Since this is such a new idea to Illinois, everyone, meaning those other municipalities that have already entered into similar IGAs, we're all looking at one-year contracts in order to assess the viability of this and really see how much savings is going to be recognized by the public. So to answer your question, at least for the short term, the answer is yes. We will need to look at this again next year. From that point on, depending on how this year pans out, we may look at a longer-term contract. So for the short term, it's a one-year agreement that we're looking at to make sure, because if we're not going to recognize this, if our residents and businesses are not going to recognize any savings from this, then we can reassess
Right
at
now,
that
it's
time.
just being set up for a one-year run.
Correct.
To check it out, okay.
Correct.
I just thought, excuse me, if this was to become a viable way of doing it, how often are we going to rebid to see if some other company might want to, give us a lower rate, et cetera, but if that's the case, that'll come later.
Sure, and there are a lot of factors in there, which is why there's a consultant aspect to this, because the cost of electricity fluctuates so much that even during one single day, you can have different rates depending upon when you lock in. So, which is also the reason that we're all, as you said, on our own as far as signing the actual contract. Depending upon when our meeting dates are, we need to make sure that we lock in at the opportune time. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes. Good.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Brady, second by trustee Agiris. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Agiris?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Evans-Scotto?
Yes.
Item 13B, ordinance granting a variation from Title 21 signs of the Wheeling Municipal Code, increasing the maximum allowable sign area for a wall sign at 263 East Dundee Road, docket number 2011-19.
Mr. Janik?
Good evening. This concerns the sign at the Great Clips location, located in a unit that faces Dundee Road. The variation is intended so that the sign is more easily seen from the intersection and people driving by along Dundee Road. The unit is relatively far west on the building, the center. There is some blockage of the unit at various locations, and the owner of the operation would like to have a larger sign. This is not. This variation is not for the entire center. It's just for this one location at the shopping center.
Does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Yes.
Just a
Trustee
question.
Agiris.
Thank you. Question for the attorney. Years ago when we were on the PC, and I think Ken and Ray can relate to this too, we were always taught that we can never dictate or content. Make petitioners put in logos, make them do this, make them change what they're used to having, like Great Clips or the Liquor Barn and adding martini glasses. We were always told that, and I'm seeing more and more of this stuff on the PC, making petitioners change designs, do this, basically changing content of what they originally come in with. Can you maybe check on that and maybe sit down with the PC there? And I think I've been watching their meetings lately, and I think we're getting off base here on some of the stuff that they shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Seriously.
You
guys need to look at this. And if
Yeah,
that means
if
you
there's
need
a
to go to a
concern-
couple meetings when they have public hearings,
Yeah.
I think it'd be a wise thing to do.
Yeah, Mark and I did talk about that, and we certainly would be willing to,
Because
some of the
if you watch it, they're all over the place.
We can do that.
And I think we're going to get ourselves in trouble.
Okay.
Seriously. I'll make a motion to approve.
Do we have any other question? Motion to approve by trustee Agiris,
Second.
second by trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Agiris?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Evans-Scotto?
Yes.
Item 13C is two ordinance regarding a new retail auto parts store located at 753, 755 West Dundee Road. Ordinance number 1, granting variation from Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code relating to building and parking requirements for 753-755 West Dundee Road, docket number 2011-23A.
Is that Mr. Janik?
Yes. These two items concern what's commonly known as the Ace Hardware Store on Dundee Road, on the south side of Dundee Road. Ace, the owner of Ace, is desirous of selling his property. Advance Auto has a contract to purchase the building. As you might remember, Advance Auto came before the board approximately a year ago to locate at Lynn Plaza. They were approved, but they never moved into a space there. They are now coming across the street at Ace Hardware. The intention of Advance Auto is to renovate the building, both inside and out, put a new parking lot in, that is, tear up the old asphalt, and relocate spaces. They're actually adding approximately 5 spaces to what the total is today. They're also adding some green space along Dundee Road. As part of the renovation of the building, Advanced Auto would take approximately 2/3 of the building and then leave space on the west side of the building for future, for another retail use of some sort. Petitioners are here tonight. There's variations attached to this docket. Virtually all the variations relative to this docket are for existing building variations. That is, variations that are reflective of the building where it sits on the site. They're not adding to the building. They're actually taking away a small piece of the building that's located at the southwest corner of the southeast corner of the building.
Do we have any questions? Trustee Vogel?
How many square feet is that total building, and how much is the auto parts store going to occupy?
Would the petitioners please come forward, state your name and your address for the record, please? Good evening.
Thank you.
My name is Lawrence Friedman. I'm the attorney for petitioner. This is David Mangert, the architect, and I think he can answer the question.
Advance Auto is going to occupy approximately 7,000 square feet. I know we were removing about 1,400, and I think the net will be about 11,000, something like that. I'd have to look at my papers for the exact numbers.
There's no plan or intent to do any repair, automotive repair in the building?
No,
Or in the
absolutely
park,
not.
or in the parking lot?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Trustee Brady?
Yeah, several things. I notice you've got 90-degree parking in the front of the building, and I'm wondering, right now it's got a diagonal parking. Of course, there's two rows of parking, one by the sidewalk and one by the building. And I wonder if that's going to be enough room, even with the elimination of the other parking and adding that 6 foot of landscape, if that's going to be really able to swing in there and park. And don't forget, you have a lot of trucks and stuff coming in here, pickup trucks, large pickup trucks, et cetera. And is that going to be enough room?
Yes, it will. I mean, if you've been to the store, you kind of sense how difficult it is to operate now with those diagonal spaces. By eliminating one set of parking along Dundee Road, it actually makes for a better circulation, both for our site and for the adjacent site.
Now, I've been going to that store for 43 years, I think, so I know the parking well in front. And I'm just a little concerned about that. I want to thank you for putting the landscaping in front, but I kind of disagree with some of the wording that I've seen in here that the sidewalk should remain a carriage walk out there, which makes it virtually unusable for the winter months. And I don't agree that anybody in the wintertime, if somebody backing out of a parking spot would hit a pedestrian, there's more of a chance of hitting a pedestrian because they'll be walking through the parking lot because that sidewalk is never cleaned.
We were neutral on whether or not the carriage walk stays in there. Whatever the recommendation of the villages will
The Planning Commission was to leave the carriage walk out by the street. And those, to me, a carriage walk is more dangerous than any kind of a sidewalk. Somebody backing up their car should certainly be in control enough to see a pedestrian behind them on a sidewalk. I don't like the carriage walk. I'd rather see the landscaping out there. I think it'd be better to put the trees out there so then fire department won't have trouble getting in there with their trucks. All kinds of good things would happen by putting the landscaping along the street. So I don't know if what the pleasure of this board is, but if it were up to me individually, I'd say you'd be putting the sidewalk where it belongs, 6 feet away from the street, so that we have a little room for snow plowing without closing the sidewalk down in the wintertime. Secondly, you made mention in your Plan Commission minutes that you told us, you guaranteed us that there'd be no semis backing into this.
What we indicated was that they would control, they have deliveries from their own company sources, and they would not be using semis for delivery. And I believe, if I'm correct, I wasn't involved in your Lynn Plaza approval, but I believe that the language that was used in that ordinance, which obviously never went into effect, had certain references to a number of issues, including the trucks. And we reviewed that ordinance with Advance, and they find whatever, the language in this ordinance, which is exactly as the one you adopted about a year and a half ago, is acceptable. And there is some reference to the size. I don't know it offhand. But they did indicate, and there was testimony at the Plan Commission, that they would not be delivering on their regular deliveries by semi-trailer. I mean, I assume when they set the store up or if there's something special, they might have to have a special event, but on a regular basis, they wouldn't be doing that.
I can understand that they're setting a store up, the need to bring the big trucks in, but this is kind of déjà vu with something that went on about a year or so ago when another auto parts on Dundee Road promised us up and down that they would not deliver in semis. and at least once a week, I don't know how many times a semi delivers, a 50 to 55-foot semi ties up traffic for at least 3 to 4 minutes on Dundee Road both ways while he navigates to back into an auto parts store. And, you know, I don't know, we should be able to give them tickets, but nobody does. I don't know why you guys can't just use small trucks. This is a big company, just like yours.
They generally will, Trustee Brady. There may be occasions where they don't, but on a regular basis, they will be using smaller trucks. That was our testimony.
This is a tough enough stretch of Dundee Road as it is because you don't have the center lane there. And to have a semi trying to back up, he's going to have to go all the way into the westbound lanes to navigate that. Other than that, I was a little confused. This isn't your deal, but in going through the agenda tonight, on page 7, the standards for the variation, I read them about 4 times and realized that they're not the ones for this job. And I was just wondering what happened.
I don't know what's in your packet, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, anyways, okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Would you repeat what you just said, Trustee Brady, that you did not find?
On page 7 of 10, on the Plan Commission docket, the standards for variation, that is in this agenda item. This is, I think, a gas station. If you look at the staff's, or the small, request for board action, Plan Commission docket. That comes right after the standards for special use.
That was, that looks like it got picked up from the,
Yeah.
Across the street.
I get, you know.
No, the video store.
Yeah, there's a video store reference in there. Obviously, that's not our
I know,
property.
well, I get confused enough without you guys helping me.
As do I.
Okay, that's all I have, Madam President. Other than that, I kind of like the idea that I'm going to miss Ace Hardware dearly, because they've always had what I needed, but I'm welcoming the new look to the building and hope that everything works out fine there.
Thank you.
Trustee Lang.
Thank you. Well, I do like the plans and how you're going to renovate the front. Can you talk a little bit about the facade and what you want to do with the, I know there's cedar on there right now.
Right. Since our client doesn't own the building yet, we couldn't pull off the siding, and so we work with staff to have some flexibility that if, when we pull the siding off, and we'll bid it that way, that if the masonry is in good condition, then we'll stain what's there to match new brick that would be part of the monument sign. If in fact it is in bad shape, which is a likelihood, then we would just skin it off and replace it with new brick, and that would be the brick that we'd be using for the sign base.
Well, according to your elevation, the north elevation, you have the windows now to the side and the entryways to the either side. Well, that's opposite from what's currently there.
Right, there is a section, right, exactly. The majority of the center is going to be new anyway, but there is some that on the west end that would be existing.
Okay. But you'll work with our staff to make sure it looks perfect. The other issue I have is, you know, we have been burned with a recent auto parts store who said that they weren't going to allow anyone to work on their car in their parking lot. And if you look in the parking lot, it's just full of oil stains and everything else. And so that new parking lot has quickly looked bad. And they don't police it at all. And I don't think it's up to us to police it, although I call every time I see it, someone out there. But I think it's up to the store to police that. And what can you do to assure us that it won't happen?
We were told, first of all, the policy is they do not allow customers to work on the cars in the lot. That's the policy. That said, I was told as part of the conditions or part of the requirements of the village, there'd have to be some signage posted to that extent. We'd be doing that. If it's a condition of the special use, and I'm presuming it would be, then it would be a condition that the village clearly has the power, not necessarily may want to do it or not do it, to enforce. We'll do whatever we can to instruct management that They'll have to monitor it and get people to cease and desist from doing it if it happens. I mean, we'll do what we can like any other condition. We recognize if it's in the ordinance as a condition that we have to meet it.
Well, I'd like to make sure that's loud and clear, because that is an issue right now, and it's hasn't changed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Heim?
Thank you. We're taking a single-use building that was done for Ace Hardware for many, many years, and we're now converting it over to a two-use building. We're allowing a parking variations and so on and so forth. I just wonder how many people are going to be able to go to these stores. If we have two separate uses over there, that's two different types of people that are going there into that particular parking lot. When you have a hardware store there, you have only got one type of person that's going in, and that's a hardware customer. There could be a lingerie shop in there. There could be a kids' clothing store in there. There could be anything that would fit that zoning. I think we should be very careful on how we limit this because of the parking situation. The building is much bigger than it should be for that type of a parking situation. But that's a throwback from many, many years ago. Also, as far as the controlling of the work being done in those parking lots, there's nobody that's going to be controlling that, and I'll put my last dollar on that. Only because Advanced Auto Parts has a program where if somebody comes in and asks for some service to be done on their car, or they need to know if they need an oxygen sensor or another different type of sensor, they actually go out there with the tester and plug it into the computer to tell them which one they have to buy. So there is work being done in that parking lot, and wiper blades being put on and so on and so forth. It's unfortunate that we're not backing up the ordinance, and I think we should be backing up that ordinance. Our police department and our code enforcers should be doing that to make sure that we don't have these situations over there, because sooner or later, we end up with guys doing brake jobs and mufflers putting on their cars and everything else. And that's something I don't want to see.
We did want to take a consensus if we would like the carriage walk removed. Trustee Lang?
Question for Mr. Stavros. Do we plow that after the state plows Dundee Road? Do we get to those walks?
We try to.
So
I mean, there's some of them that we can't get the blade past because of planters. There's not enough room between the curb and the area.
Based on these plans, would you be able to plow this?
It'd be tight.
Okay.
Because it's a carriage walk, and if you go down there with a V-plow, all you're going to do is you're going to move 2.5 feet of that snow back into the roadway. 2.5 feet, trying to put it up against a planter box.
Okay, thank you. No carriage walk.
Remove.
Yeah.
And Trustee Brady?
No carriage walk.
Trustee here?
We have an opportunity here to correct the problem. I'd say no carriage walk.
Trustee Heim?
No carriage walk.
Trustee Vogel?
No carriage walk.
And Trustee Agiris?
You got a question, though, regarding the carriage.
Yes.
Okay. What goes in there in place of the carriage walk? Are you moving parking spaces closer to the street, or are we just going to have what there?
You'd flip-flop the landscaping, which is on the interior right now. You put the landscaping on the street, and then the sidewalk would go next to the...
So we're going to have grass and trees.
That's correct.
And when people walk, where do they walk to? In the parking lot or on the curb?
Well, there's sidewalk to the east end. There's sidewalk at least to the east.
Okay, but I'm on the south end. I'm walking the south end of Dundee Road. Where do I walk?
Sidewalk.
What sidewalk? You just took it out.
No.
it's being
Well, the
moved
sidewalk
in.
will be next to the parking lot.
This sidewalk would jog just like it does in front of Village Hall. It would just come more towards the interior of the property.
So we're pushing cars closer to the building.
Cars will stay the same. The aisle for the cars will stay the same, but the sidewalk would now be right next to the aisle.
I'm looking at a picture right now. You got curb, sidewalk, and then stoppers for parking. What landscaping are you putting there, and where are you putting sidewalks? It's here. Curb, sidewalk, stoppers, parking lot.
You might be looking at the existing.
That's what I'm looking at, the existing.
But
Okay,
the
well,
proposal is
the proposed.
sidewalk, landscaping, and parking lot.
That's all going to fit there.
That's correct. Because right now, there's 2 rows of parking. They're going to take 1 row of parking out and make the aisle wider, and that leaves room for landscaping and a sidewalk instead of right now where there's just paving out there. Right now, there's two rows of cars. They're taking 1 row of cars out.
That whole area is a mess with parking. It's always been a mess with parking. We've criticized, beat up people that have businesses to the west of that because they don't have enough parking, and now we're taking parking away in the front.
Well, they're
We're
actually
widening-
adding 3 spaces total
All
to the
right,
total.
What about the easements there? Do we have the right-of-ways there?
There's easement between the use to the east and the west, and those are not being removed. They're, as you can see, you can
So we do
drive.
have the right-of-ways there?
You can drive
That we-
both
that we need.
parcels right through. That's correct.
Okay. I hope it works.
Yes or no?
Sure. Hope it works.
And myself, yes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Vogel,
Second.
second by trustee Brady. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes, and that's with the removal of the carriage walk.
Correct.
Items 2C, ordinance granting special use and associated site plan and appearance approval to establish and operate a new retail auto parts store at 753 West Dundee Road, docket number 2011-23B.
Do you have any further questions, or do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by trustee Vogel,
Second.
second by trustee Agiris. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes. Good luck.
Thank you.
Item 13D, resolution authorizing the village president to execute change order number 11 and final to the contract with Morgan Harbor Construction for ongoing work at the One Community Boulevard location.
Mr. Janik?
This concerns the contract that we have with Morgan Harbor Construction relative to the police station next door. The construction is complete. The change order we have before you, there are a few items on there. The 2 major items are the addition of a mobile file storage cabinet or file. We have 2 over there right now. A new one would be for evidence for additional storage. And the other larger item on there was for emergency electrical work that was performed in between two of the structures that are out there. I mean, it's all one structure, but they were built at different times. There was an emergency electrical situation, and that's what the other $10,000 item is for. End of the day, the project took about a year and a half. We got the project done for $105 a square foot, and we ended up approximately $64,000 below budget.
Have any questions?
So move.
Motion made by trustee Agiris.
Second.
Second by trustee Brady. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes.
Item 13E, resolution authorizing request for approval of change in plans number 1 and final to the construction contract for the 2011 motor fuel tax street improvement program.
Mr. Stavros.
Thank you, Madam President. This is the first and final change order for the 2011 MFT program for the reconstruction of Lexington Drive. The original contract for this project was $988,261,000. There was a reduction of $82,200, which brings it in at total for to $906,000. I'll get it right.
It's all right. We'll wait.
$906,000 is your final contract amount. Look at too many zeros here. So the reduction is due to the fact that when we got into the project, there were soil conditions that were better than had been anticipated. There was less concrete used. Some of the radiuses and returns didn't need to be removed. So that was where the reduction in cost came for the project.
Do you have any questions?
Motion approved. Thanks.
Second.
Good job, Tony.
Motion by trustee Brady, second by trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes, it's always nice to know when we save money.
And good job, Mark. That's Fred.
Thank you.
Item 13F, resolution authorizing change order number 3 and final to the construction contract with Archon Construction Company Incorporated for the 2011 Water Main Replacement Program, Hollywood Ridge Subdivision, Phase 3 and Phase 3A.
Mr. Stavros.
Thank you, Madam President. And again, this project was the 2011 water main removal and replacement for Hollywood Ridge. And Archon Construction was awarded the contract. And after everything was said and done, this is for change order number 3, final. And there'll be a savings of $222,367,000 is the decrease, which brings the amount of the contract $1,330,729.40. What transpired with this contract was when we got into the project, there was storm sewer that once we got into it that we didn't feel needed to be replaced, that we had earmarked to be replaced. Some soil conditions, and the contractor was very diligent on his ripping up of the roadway. So the restoration of the pavement was reduced considerably as far as the pavement and the curb.
Thank you.
Question?
Yes, trustee Adjuris.
Mr. Stavros, when do you think your department will come out with an estimated timeline on when we can get some of these streets and curbs and stuff like that replaced in those subdivisions that you torn up with the water mains?
Well, we had the street analysis being done, and actually where the water main projects have been as of the last 4, 5, 6 years, those roads are on the upper end of the scale as far as being replaced. They're in good shape. We have other streets that are a lot worse shape than those.
Let me ask you this, too. The prior item on the agenda, we originally had $1.4 million budget out of MFT, and that project came in probably about $500,000, just under $500,000 under budget. Are those funds still in the MFT fund, or after a calendar year, those funds go away and we start all over again? I mean, is there an ongoing...
It's an ongoing thing.
It's an ongoing thing.
And this year coming up, we may have some additional streets that we can get done with some of that money.
Maybe when you have some time with your staff, John, maybe we can get like an update on where we're at on MFT. What is the balance of the MFT fund, and what is the projection in the next couple of years on getting some of these streets that have been literally...
We can certainly do that, and these opportunities where we've come in under are helpful because, as you know, to help balance our budget, we've been using MFT funds to reimburse our general fund for the cost of labor and some other costs that is appropriate, but doesn't then allow for the same quantity of streets to be repaired. So we can do that and give you an update so you know where we're at.
So move. There's no other questions.
Motion made by trustee Adjuris, second by
Second.
trustee Lang. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Argyris?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes.
Item 13G, discussion regarding draft ordinance regarding synthetic alternative drugs.
Mr. Wargo.
This is a ordinance that prohibits the sale of synthetic marijuana in the village. Currently, state law does prohibit this. We just don't have it at the local ordinance level. And I think Deputy Chief Tevens was going to, were you going to say something as well?
Sure, I will. This really is an emerging public health threat. 40 states now have enacted laws, a host of suburbs, also Illinois being the 9th state that joined in on this. We really jumped on board here through our tactical unit who actually encountered several individuals in this past year who they believe were under a synthetic form of marijuana and found that to be really an incredible interaction due to the behavior that they saw. At that point, they looked around and, they knew that there was state law in effect. They checked businesses within our town to see if any of those businesses were selling any of these synthetic drugs, which they were not, which I'm glad to say. But what we really would like to do is kind of get ahead of this curve on what we're seeing nationally and start this ordinance, which would cover a host of synthetic types of chemicals that the state, though they meet infrequently, can't continue to be on top of. And that's why you see the ordinances being enacted across, at least within the suburban area, as well as across the nation. I do have some figures here. According to the American Association of Poison Control, calls nationwide, how they've increased. From 2010, the Poison Control Centers received 302 calls just about the bath salts. In 2011, the calls have increased to 5,600 of those overdoses. Synthetic marijuana is also on the rise. In 2010, there were more than 2,900 calls to the Poison Center. Last year, now almost 6,000. So we really want to stay ahead of this. We see the problem. We're going to be checking our businesses. We're going to make sure that these dealers or these chemical companies, as they change and as they try to beat the system, we're going to be ahead of that, and we can keep them off of the shelves within Wheeling.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Madam President?
Yes. Trustee here.
I salute the police department for taking a proactive approach on this ordinance, but I do want to ask them one question. Obviously, to determine what the substance is, it has to be sent to the lab to be analyzed by them before charges can be placed.
That's absolutely correct.
How will that affect your enforcement action on this? And the other part of that question is, the drugs change all the time. Let's say one of the tech officers goes into one of these stores, pulls something off the shelf, or buys it, and you guys send it in to be tested. How long of a turnaround will it take for that to be brought back to the village?
Well, we have a great relationship with the crime lab, and what we have expressed to them, if we see a problem, I imagine, and I can't, say for certain that, a 2 to 3 week turnaround would probably be acceptable from them.
But what would we do then once you pull that from the shelf under the suspicion that it is a synthetic?
Well, we would put them on notice and say that, what we believe you're selling here is an illegal substance. We're going to ask the store that you take it off your shelves, and at that time, the clerk, whoever is selling it, would be recorded, and then we would come back later on with this ordinance and either we would cite them and look at their business license. I think that that would come into question. Do we want a business like this even within our town that is selling these substances?
Very nice job. And if no one has anything further, or this is just discussion.
This is just for discussion, so we would ask, with the approval of the board, to draft an ordinance and bring it back to us. Does that take 2 weeks?
We can turn it around pretty quickly.
2 weeks? So if we have the approval of the board, Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Adiers, and myself, yes. So thank you if you would do that ordinance, and thank you to the police department. Official communications. District 21 has asked that we would announce that they have a board vacancy by someone that had to had to remove themselves. So they're asking, the Board of Education welcomes the applicants for the position of the board member created by a resignation. Letters of interest, including the past, present involvement with the district, will be accepted by the Board of Education at 999 West Dundee Road until 4 o'clock on February 15th, 2012. So they're hoping that we get the message out, and if anyone knows of anybody that would be interested in being on District 21 School Board, if you would contact the Board of Education at 999 West Dundee Road. Good news, good high schools. To start with, Buffalo Grove, which has a lot of students from Wheeling, placed third in the competitive cheerleading state finals this past weekend, which were held in Bloomington, Illinois. The Buffalo Grove High School co-ed team had an outstanding season with 4 first-place finishes and 1 second-place finish, plus a first-place finish at the sectionals. An all-school assembly will be held, was held today, Monday, to celebrate this. So we congratulate Buffalo Grove High School and how fortunate we do have Wheeling residents, children attending. So we congratulate them and congratulate the hard work of the cheerleading team. On Thursday, the 2nd, and I was excited about this, I had been at the high school on Friday, there was a District 214 math team competition. The junior and senior teams both got first place versus all the other schools in the district. At the end of the night, Wheeling finished in first place overall and was crowned District 214 math team champions for the 2011-2012 school year. What a wonderful, wonderful thing, and how the schools are really progressing and how the children have really worked hard. I attended school on Friday, and they have a new program at the school. It's only 4 years old. It's called the AVID program, and it's for children that have an interest, and they learn all about the colleges. And when I heard this announcement as I'm sitting in the classroom, it really is wonderful to know all the hard work and all the good teaching that the children are getting from attending our high schools. So congratulations to all that are hearing this on 99 or Channel 17. To all of you, if you have children in our school districts in 214, be very proud of Wheeling High School and of Buffalo Grove, which are children from this particular village. So thank you very much. Does anybody else have any special communications? Trustee Hein.
Thank you. Just for my information, it's been a while since we've done a comprehensive plan. I believe it was 2003 with the Camaras study that was done. Do we have anything going right now where we're going to be looking at to do another comprehensive plan based on the present economy and things that have happened since 2003? Most times communities adjust their business plan and their comprehensive plan to coincide with the things that are happening now.
We have looked at individual sections as opposed to the village as a whole, dealing with particular areas within the village, and continue to do so. As far as bringing them forward, we can certainly do that and have a more formal process. And I don't see any problem with making that happen quickly.
I believe at the last one we did with the Lakota group, correct me if I'm wrong, there was a lot of citizen input and breaking up into different sectors of the community and getting them involved in what they'd like to see their community to be like in the future and that type of thing. So I think it's important that we keep in touch and we keep these types of things going in the right direction, because every couple of years plans change. And of course, you know, we got some wonderful business sections in our community, and they're all very diverse and they're different from each other. so we have to come up with a different plan for each one of them. The only other item I have is that the Wheeling Historical Society is going to have its White Elephant auction February 22nd. And it's going to be at the Church and Chamber Park at 251 North Wolf Road. Dinner will be served at 6 p.m. It is $12 per seat, per person. It's limited seating. Call Mr. Bill Simpson at 847-541-8692 to reserve your seat. We need items for the auction, so empty out your garage, attics, and barns. This auction is a fundraiser for your Wheeling Historical Society. For more information, call Joe Wiener, President, at 847-650-0144, and thank you for the commercial.
Free.
Do we have anything? Trustee Adjuris.
I want to piggyback on Mr. Hines. Before we go out and start new comprehensive plans, let's take stuff that is on the shelf right now and look at it. We did prioritizing workshops back in June. We have a laundry list of stuff that we still got to do workshops on. I would hope staff very, very soon, we're in February already, will get back with workshop dates on priorities that we had set forward. And at that time, probably be the opportune time to, if we have to amend or do anything with the comprehensive plan, that we do it at that time. Also, the abandoned buildings or buildings owned by the Village of Wheeling throughout the community, I'd like to see a list of that. I think everybody would like to see a list of that and what we're doing with that. These are ongoing problems. This is, quote President Abiscato, direct that we drive by every day. What are we doing? Where are they? Is there developers looking at them? Or is there anything going on with them? Or are we just going to look at abandoned buildings with broken windows and everything else? And again, I'd like to see the upcoming workshop list and a game plan for what we're doing with some of the goals that we're set out to do for this year, whether it be economic development or management. I'd like to see what we're doing here, because I don't see much. That's all I have.
You have anything else?
Approve the bills.
Approval of the bills?
Madam President, I have one quick question on the bills.
Yes.
There's an item on here for camera system maintenance. Who owns the cameras? Does the village or the red light company? I assume that's what the camera system maintenance is for?
Red Speed owns the cameras. We just lease them on a yearly basis.
And we're responsible for the maintenance? Or is this refer to something else? Michael, do you know offhand? Do we pay maintenance on the red light cameras?
We do not, and so this may be the village's cameras. I can look
Or
into.
security?
I can
Okay.
look into that and get back to you.
All right. If nobody else has any questions, make a motion to approve the bills.
Motion made by Trustee Vogel,
Second.
second by Trustee Adjuris. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Adjuris?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes. Board will go into executive session to discuss pending, probable, or imminent litigation and approval of executive minutes and acquisition of property owned by the village. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Trustee Hein, second by Trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Adjuris?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Hein? Trustee
Yes.
Hein? Oh,
Yes.
President Abiscato?
Yes, board will go into executive session at 7:34, returning at 7:45.